Are you frustrated with your doctor visits? Do you struggle with finding a doctor that you like? Or do you not feel heard sometimes during your visits? Well, I'm Dr. Ty, and today on Black America's Health, we're going to give you tips and tricks on how to get the most out of your healthcare experiences. I have with me today Dr. Nicole Rochester, a pediatrician and an independent health advocate who helps patients and their families navigate the healthcare system, and Dr. Felecia Sumner, who is a board-certified family medicine physician and a wellness strategist who helps patients get to the root cause of their illnesses. Thanks for coming on today, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So let's just jump right in. Dr. Rochester, could you kind of help us understand what is the root of the frustration and the breakdown between patients and their physicians?
I think a lot of it, Dr. Ty, really comes down to poor communication. I think that people feel that they don't have adequate time with their physicians. You know, the visits are significantly shortened. And so what they see is a doctor rushing in and out of the room. We have the electronic medical record, so there's often a physical barrier where the doctor's typing away on a computer or a tablet instead of making eye contact. And I think all of that just leads to patients feeling like the doctor doesn't care.
I'd agree with regards to that. I think the majority of the times that a patient might leave the doctor's office feeling frustrated about the time that they spent waiting and then actually being seen is that they were seen and not heard, is really what it comes down to.
So how do you guys think that a patient should prepare for their doctor visits? Like, is there something they can do to minimize that feeling for themselves? Dr. Sumner, do you want to take it first?
Yeah, I actually think that there are a lot of things that could help make that visit with your doctor get the most out of that visit to maximize that time. I think number one, when it comes down to prepping your visit, is to first make sure that you have the right amount of time allotted. So a lot of patients will, call to make an appointment and they just say they need an appointment, or they might say they need it for blood work, or they just need a checkup. And the receptionist at the doctor's office will put them down for a 10 or 15-minute visit when that patient really needed a wellness physical or a pap smear or something that takes a significantly more amount of time. So I think it's really important, number one, is to prep with regards to making that appointment in the first place.
I agree. I think another thing that's important is to write down your questions ahead of time, because the visits are shortened, because the doctor is rushing and often trying to focus on whatever they think that chief complaint is. A lot of patients have been worrying about something for days, weeks, sometimes even months leading up to that visit. And then they get in the room, the doctor has his or her own agenda, they're rushed out, and then they get in the car and they go, oh my gosh, like I didn't even ask him or her about this problem. So I always encourage my clients to, bring a notebook, write down their questions ahead of the visit so that they can have that in front of them and make sure that their concerns are addressed.
I like what you said there, Dr. Nicole. I kind of take the visits with my patients, I like to prepare them in saying that our appointments are basically, take them like they're a business meeting. So both of you guys have an agenda. You both have an agenda and you both have a limited amount of time. So the same like you would for a business meeting, set up, what you need to address during that meeting is very important. I even tell people to rehearse in front of the mirror if you need to. If you've got a really complicated story that you're bringing to your doctor, especially if it's a first time, it doesn't hurt to rehearse, bringing that history to your doctor. Big questions like, when did it start? What kind of medicines did you take already? Those things are really important. And those are questions your doctor is bound to ask you. So those kind of things I think are really helpful to know ahead of time.
And it's important too, especially if you're seeing a doctor or another healthcare provider for the first time, to bring your records too, right? Or at least now that everything's electronic, maybe give them access to your records.
Absolutely. And I think, in addition to bringing the records, because, the reality is that if you walk in that door with, something that would fit in a 3-ring binder, the doctor is not going to have time to look through that information. And so I think it is incredibly important that the new doctor has access to your records, but it's also important that you know your medical information, at least the basics, your past medical history, your surgeries, the medications that you take. These things are incredibly important, especially when transitioning to a new physician.
I think the other thing too, and I want to get your opinions about this, is kind of how do patients pick a doctor? How do they know who to go to, where to go first?